So we're bringing onto stage a panel of experts who are manufacturing products, but they'll share their journey with us. It's a process. There are barriers, there are challenges. We're going to hear from them on how they're doing it. They're manufacturing their products. Konala eKasi. So I'm going to call our panel onto stage. I will start with Miss Lufuno. Miss Lufuno was the eKasi Pitching Challenge winner in Olivernote. I think this was 2 or 3 years back. So she knows what she's talking about, from a company called Rasoesoe Holdings, trading as Tosh Detergents. They've got their products at the back, which they have manufactured, and they are in stores, and they are selling. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's good to see that you are in the country. Those who follow her will know that she's hardly here, but it's encouraging. You stay in the township, or you've got a business that is operating in the township, but you're doing global work. So thank you so much for joining us. And then we've got Calab. Calab Baloyi is a South African entrepreneur and founder of Nosso sunflower oil, a company that produces organic sunflower cooking oil. Calab was also one of our eKasi Pitching Challenge winner. So he won that eKasi Pitching Challenge. Thank you so much for joining us. And then we've got Makatu, founder of the Light Candles. Makatu, please, can you come onto stage, my brother? Makatu is also in the manufacturing industry, and he manufactures candles. Interesting. And they smell nice. They're called the Light Candles. Don't know if I want to call you panelists, or I want to call you finalists, or I want to call you winners, but you are all of that. Thank you so much for joining us. Makatu, I'll start with you, and we'll get straight into it, right? You're from the township, you manufacture in the township. Take us through your journey of manufacturing and some of the obstacles that you faced and how you overcame them. I know there were many of them, but just tell us about one that you have faced and one that you have overcome. But before that, just brief context of your business and what it does.
My name is Makatu Tshivhula, and I always say I'm the founder of a fast-growing candle company called The Light Candles. We are based in Soweto, Pimville Zone 3, just opposite Maponya Mall, and we manufacture all types of candles, incense sticks, anything, pillar candles, dinner candles, scented candles, anything that's candle-related. And I think one of the value props of our business is that we're the only candle company that manufactures up to 30 different colors, and our candles last 33% longer than the leading competitors. Going back to your question, some of the challenges that we faced and how we've overcome them was load shedding. So
Sure.
in Pimville, actually, besides load shedding, there's also power outages where they steal cables and electricity can go off for about, I think the longest it's been was 2 weeks, where the whole of Pimville Zone 3 didn't have electricity. And at the time, we couldn't afford a generator. And what we then did was, whenever there was electricity, we planned ahead of time. So we are fortunate enough to produce a product that doesn't have an expiry date. So whenever there was electricity, we would manufacture ahead of schedule to have enough candles to last us another 2 weeks. So that was one smart, innovative idea we came up with to try and overcome the challenge up until we managed to get a generator.
My name is Calab Baloyi, founder, managing director at Nosso sunflower oil. Just a quick background on what we do. As it says in the name, sunflower oil. So basically we manufacture premium cooking oil. So it's available in a wide ranges, you know, from your 750 ml all the way up to your 20 liters. We then also resell the sunflower cake as feed to poultry and piggery farmers to ensure that there's limited waste in the business. So one of the major challenges that we encountered was initially when starting out as the business, because you find that in this kind of industry, you'll require machinery that will cost you anything above 1.5 million to 2.3 million rands to actually set up the whole production line. So now, the only way we had to overcome that, we had to now be innovative, So we have done some research. It took us about 3 years or so, close to 3 years, whereby we then scaled down the whole production line from the big companies, If maybe they require there's a certain extraction machine that they use, we find ways in which where we can get it cheaper. For example, if maybe we have to decam the oil, remove the impurities, there's a machine for that, but it's quite expensive. So we had to find, alternative ways of creating our own machines, When you have to degas the machine, you had to do research on how, that whole process works and find a mini or, get eKasi, a welder, give him the concept. We needed to weld with Zimbobolana, start a vacuum, so ifagalana, So that's how we were able to then be able to get into the game. So that is actually one of the major challenges that we faced when we were starting out. Yeah, and that's how we overcame it.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Lufuno, and I'm the founder of Tosh Detergents. So Tosh Detergents is a company that manufactures cleaning detergents that focus on sustainability by using pure forms of raw materials. And I think for us, the greatest hurdle that we have faced is, just to give context, our business was launched in March 2021. And my mission was simple. It was to compete comfortably alongside the multinationals. So we wanted to build a global brand that is proudly South African and that was born or made from the township. And that is what we live up to. So the greatest hurdle was market access, because if we are competing alongside the multinationals, this means that we have to be on the well-known retail shelves. And getting our product into the retail shelves was the biggest hurdle, mainly because of compliance, and also because when you go knocking on these doors, they ask you certain questions and question also the quality 2 times more than the well-known brands. Just to get there as a nobody, trying to get your foot inside multinationals or to sit alongside the multinational brands was difficult. But we were persistent, we were compliant, and today I'm proud to say that our products can be found nationwide at ShopRite, Checkers, we're in Pick n Pay, we're also on leading e-commerce platforms. So we are on Takealot, we are on Amazon, we are on Zulzi. I was proud when one guy spoke about Zulzi, because it is also a proudly South African company and it's doing very well. So for us, I always say that when we started in 2021, COVID had just hit. But because we wanted to be national, e-commerce made it possible. So as an entrepreneur, and you want to be on the retail shelves, on the physical retail shelves, take advantage of the e-commerce platforms, because they will ask you, where is your traction? What are you doing? Who is buying this product? And it's an easy way to get into retail. Thank you.
So I assume, but beyond just an assumption, it's a fact, that in the industry that you're in, the costs are high, right? I mean, and also you were speaking about, the funds that were needed. Just the entire process itself. We had a conversation earlier, or rather yesterday, about how, you needed to produce bulk. But the bigger the bulk, the bigger the cost at times, right? How did you overcome some of those? Because an entrepreneur is sitting here and saying, okay, I see the panelists, they're doing great, but can I challenge our finance? Can I challenge our producer? No, I mean, even in Tosh Detergents, we need to, this retail says you need to put on the shelf 200 of these products. But now you don't have that cash to go and produce and to put them into retail. What's your advice or suggestion to entrepreneurs who are sitting here and saying, that's the challenge that I'm facing? It's the access to market. It's I don't have the funds to produce this bulk that they want. How did you overcome that?
That's a tricky one, because I'm still facing that challenge. But in some of the ways that I'm trying to overcome is through raising funds myself, through reseller programs that I've launched. So I've got a reseller program whereby there's been a lot of people who come to me and say, Makatu, we want to get into the candle industry. How do we do it? And one of the answers is you need a lot of money. But because of this reseller program that I've started, I've allowed people to buy our candles at a bulk discount, then they can white label them and then resell. So that for me has been a strategy to raise income, to try and source, or rather to try and fulfill orders that come from the retailers. Besides that, some of the ways that I've overcome that issue was through winning the pitching competition in February for tea in Soweto. I'll just give a brief background. So during that time, thank you. So during that time, we had been trying to get into retail stores, and some of the problems that we encountered was, will you be able to produce and give us the stock on consignment? And when I came here on February in Soweto, on this very same platform, I explained that was my problem, and I needed 50,000 Rand, and I needed 50,000 Rand exactly. And what that then did, it allowed me to get into 7 additional retail stores that pay on consignment, and via consignment, they take about 60 to 90 days. So yeah, to sum up the answer is through grant funding, pitching competitions, and also finding creative ways to raise the income, to raise the money yourself through various strategies such as reselling your product or allowing resellers to buy your products at a cheaper price. And I think you can also measure the impact because you're also creating income for someone else.
Yeah, no, it is a bit of a tricky one. My advice to any entrepreneur on the floor thinking to go that route, I wouldn't advise it personally, depending on the level of scale that you're on. Because we have had the big retail stores come approach us, and you find that, the quantities that they require, they're quite ridiculous for a small business. And as Marco said, they don't pay immediately, right? So you'll have to wait your 60 days, 90 days. So now, as a small business, you also have employees to pay, bills to pay, raw materials to buy. So the best advice I can give is look at the market that you have already. For example, with us, we deal directly with other fast food restaurants in the business, and there's no competition for us. We just, cruising alone because we decided. Cruising
nicely.
Yeah, we cruise. Yeah, because now the good thing about fast food businesses, they are there in every township, and once you get them, you are able to keep them on your books for longer. So you are also able to build traction, in that sense, and they pay immediately. So that's how we are mostly able to raise funds. And obviously through, asking for funding, knocking on doors, pitch competitions here and there. But I wouldn't advise anyone to try and scale up too big, too fast, because chances are you won't make it. So start with the market that you have, that's the best advice I can give.
Okay, I think they've addressed most of the things that I would have also said, but I'll then reiterate. So initially when I started, I was selling tea on the side as a side hustle. And I was intentional to say I want to build Tosh, but I do not have capital to invest into my business. So I sold the weight loss tea, and with the money that I made on the side, that's what I used to buy my packaging material, my labels, and everything else. But what is also important is that immediately when you feel you want to start a business, open up a business account. And whatever income that you receive from selling your goods or service or whatever service you're providing, allow the clients or your customers to pay directly into their account, because then it builds up your financial capacity as well. And at a later stage, you are then able to request for finance, and they will ask you for bank statements, for example, to show that indeed you are a business that is operating. But before we get to that level, I also want to say that when we, as entrepreneurs, we need to normalize the fact that we can start with exactly what we have. You don't have to start with an automated machinery for you to be manufacturing. I started with a 25-liter bucket and a wooden spoon in my garage. That's how we started making detergents. And the first mixing drum that we got was in 2022 when I won the tea competition. That is when we got an automated mixing machine. And that was a year later because we launched in 2021. So pitch competitions are very much important. Put yourself out there because it's free money. And I mean, you just stand here, you pitch, and then you get money to invest into your business. But also have a business account. So in case you need to request for loans, for example, or you need funding, then there's credibility. And the other thing that you can do to raise funds is also to don't grow too quick, like you said. Allow organic growth. I'll give an example. When we listed with ShopRite and Checkers, they are a chain store that has got 2,400 stores. And it was quite exciting to calculate and see how much money we could be making if we were to service 2,400 stores. But did we have the capacity to do it? No, we didn't. Yeah. So don't bite on too much more than you can chew. We said to them, we understand you've got 400 stores, but can we start with minimal, which can be 5 stores, because at least we can afford that, and we also will not be able to taint our reputation. So one other thing as entrepreneurs, we also like to grow too fast, and then we bite on too much, and then we crumble and we fall. So take it bit by bit, step by step, allow for organic growth. And as you grow with every level of growth, there has to be certain or different measures of how you raise funds. But initially, as a startup, do pitch competitions, reinvest your money back into the business. Do distributorship, where people buy your products at a lower rate, they sell, and that way you build clientele. As you grow more and more advanced, then you are able to then go and also make use of this organics of states, state organizations such as the SEDFA. Know the type of organizations that support small businesses. What is it that they offer to small businesses? Because there is money for people, for example, in the townships. They do have funds for people that are manufacturing locally. They do have funds for black female owned. But if you are not putting yourself out there and you are not researching, then you will not know.
My last 2 questions for you before we wrap up this panel discussion. And the question is around opportunities that are there when it comes to manufacturing, especially in the manufacturing industry, right? What are the opportunities that are there for entrepreneurs who are in the township, right? That's the first question. And the second question is around resilience, because, I mean, I look at your industry that you're in, you require a lot of patience. I mean, it's not a come do quick, service, pay on the spot, we move, next one. How do you stay resilient and how do you stay patient?
Yeah, that's a good question. With regards to the opportunities in manufacturing that I have identified is white labeling, whereby, as I say, there's been people who come up to me and wanting training or wanting to start their own candle brand and don't know how to go on about it. So what I then came up with is the reseller program or the white labeling program, whereby you can buy our candles at a discounted rate and we can white label it for you. We can call it Buddha candles, we can call it Bulelani candles. And the nice thing about that is that we also open up opportunity for you. If you are based in Tembisa, for instance, some of our customers in Tembisa, we send them to you. So we don't just white label for you and then just let you go. And because we understand that the more you grow, the more we grow.
Yeah.
So that's the opportunity that we have identified in manufacturing and that we're currently implementing. With regards to the second question, how do we stay patient?
Patient and resilient.
Patient and resilience. For me, it's through the God that I serve. God, I always look back at my journey and I keep realizing how blessed I've been throughout my journey. It's been tough, but every obstacle, I overcame it. I don't know how I overcame it, but it's through God. You know, there's been times where people come up to me and just give me money for free without pitching. So yeah, I think it's looking back at where you come from and also realizing that God didn't bring you this far just to leave you here. There's greater plans for you. And the fact that I create value for my customers carries me through that, all the challenges that I face.
So opportunities that are there in the manufacturing space. I think one thing maybe I can address, if you can allow me, it's, you know, us as entrepreneurs, sometimes it's time to go. You know, you find someone opening maybe a quarter joint here. 3 months down the line, uzobona saifo. Yeah, when And nobody ever thought, okay, if someone uvule maybe a quarter place, lo muntu maybe think I'm a plastic, you know, how can I come in that space? Or lo muntu think I can create maybe a baker or manufacture the bread. Uting I'm a baloney, you know, and then we all come together supporting one business, but with different concepts in it, you know. So it's the same thing, or rather the same principle I like to apply in the oil space. You know, I mean against sunflower oil, right? But bakhona maybe abanye abayenza maybe cosmetics, you know. They need those essential oils, you know. So in that case, you know, like for example, I was thinking next year I create a program where I teach everyone how to make this oil, you know, because you can extract it, but to refine it, it's another process. You know, that's where the skills come in, where you don't need, if you don't have the capital. You know, so by doing that, we're also empowering, you know, someone else to empower their own businesses, you know, because essential oils are very expensive, you know. So by doing that, there's also opportunities there, you know. There are quite a lot of different oils you can make. You know, making sunflower, there's an upper market, you know, for your olive oils. You know, you don't have to, you know, no. We can be unique in our own way and still strive together. Yes, you oil, but now I don't manufacture the bottling. You know, somebody can supply with the bottling. Someone can supply with the labeling. You know, so we all grow together. So there are quite opportunities, but I also think is the perception of how we look at those opportunities. And in terms of, you know, being perseverance and having patience and so forth, I think as an entrepreneur, you must have grit, you know. Grit goes hand in hand with discipline. Discipline simply means the ability to do something even if you don't want to do it. There's a saying I like, it says, your character will take you to places where your money can't take you. You know, so with grit and discipline, you end up building character, and, you know, you get opportunities because of the discipline that you have. So, yeah, keep trying, man. We are all in the same struggle. We're all trying to expand. Yeah, we'll get there.
I think the biggest opportunities that we have as manufacturers is that we can bring everyone along, like you said. You know, you can tap into, you own the value chain. Not even once will you sit and say, the container was stuck, so now I have to wait for 2 months or a month because I can't trade. So when you own the value chain, it means that where you are sourcing your raw materials, where you are getting your packaging. With us, I'm really proud that part of the components that get into our detergents, it's harvested from local villages. So it means that we've incorporated the local villagers into our value chain. We've got students that we host on an annual basis that come, who are studying chemical engineering, and they are able to get in-service training or work-integrated learning when they join our organization. We also have people who are not qualified or educated in the sense of they've got degrees or diplomas, but they can come and learn a manufacturing skill and impact, you know, and change their circumstances. So it's one of the greatest benefits is that you can bring everybody with you. We've got merchandisers that go out. It's job creation, it's impact. I always say manufacturing is not about production, but it's about dignity. It's about the impact that we make on lives. It's about job creation, you know. And I love this saying to say, we are part of the economic solution that this country so desperately needs. But now I believe that we are not part of it. We are the economic solution. And manufacturers are that solution. Because when you produce one product, you are able to bring so much more with you. And when it comes to patience, you said patience and resilience.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, when you start a business, you always think you are just going to be a millionaire the next day. It's not like that. It's a lot of patience, you know. With our product, for example, the margins are very minimal. They are very small, which means that it's a volume game. So the more retailers you list, the more people buy your products in bulk, is the more you make money. But you don't just become a detergent manufacturer and then you've got customers. It's something that you need to work on. You need to show up. You need to be consistent. You know, we show up when we feel like it and when we don't feel like it. We show up when we don't even have fuel to put in the car or money for transport, but you show up and you exhibit your products. You have to make it work because it's that consistency that will then bring forth and bear forth results for you. And when it comes to the resilience, I think for me, it's always my why. It's always, why did you start this? When you always or constantly remind yourself of, why am I doing this? It wakes you up in the morning. It pushes you even on days where you don't feel like it. And the moment when you become an employer and you walk into a manufacturing space with 20 people, you realize that there is no way you can go back. What do you say to these people who are depending on you to put food on the table for their children or their families? So I always say, remember your why, stick to it. Don't just do something because somebody else is doing it. That's why 6 months down the line, you are going to close down. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Entrepreneurship it does need grit. But also, I loved what Makatu said, is that you also need to have this deep time, or however, whatever your faith could be. For me, I'm Christian. So it's very much important to be grounded, because I'm telling you, there will be days where you will feel that I don't want to do this, and it's only supernatural strength that will get you through it. So you need to have that place where you can go and fill yourself up, because we empty ourselves so much. There's employees, we are constantly putting out fires. So you also need to have that place and that moment where you infill into yourself, and that makes you resilient. For me, I've found that having a routine works for me. If I wake up, I do my meditation, I exercise, and then I go to the office, I'm more productive. But if I skip something along those lines, then I feel like there's a draining. So find rhythm, find what works for you. Also, association. Associate yourself with people who know what you're going through. If I were to call Makatu right now and tell him, Makatu, I just need 200,000 now, Makatu understands what I'm going through. But if I can call somebody who's in corporate, they'll probably tell me, why did you leave your job? You know? So associate with people who are on your level, who are also in business, who understand the struggles that you're going through. Because when I tell Makatu that, sure, Makatu, I've got this order, I don't even know where to get the money. He understands, and he probably could tell me, I also had this issue, but then I spoke to this and this person from NetBank, and they assisted me. So community is very much important. Because when you realize that you are not on this journey alone, the challenges that you are facing are not just you that is facing. It gives you confidence to go on and to also see people, blueprints. I always say it's important to look up to people who are doing well. It's also encouraging to say, black child, it's possible. So that's what works for me.
Thank you very much. Makatu, Caleb, and Lufuno, our manufacturing pioneers, industry leaders. I know you're not there yet, but you'll get there. We see you. We love the work that you're doing. We're inspired, and we say, keep going. Thank you so much for coming through. I know, yesterday one of the finalists said that me and my winning team, and I was like, one day, when you started out, now they're here with us, but their businesses or businesses are operating. Years back, it was just them, but they're able to be here to share insight, and business is still able to go on, which I think is inspiring and empowering for me and for many of us who are here today, that it's possible, it can be done. So thank you to every single one of you. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's give them another round of applause. Township entrepreneurs in the manufacturing industry, doing it big. All right, and then we've got a gift for every single one of you. I stand to be mistaken. These gift bags are from the workshop that we did in Kwanyamazana, and they are manufactured in Kwanyamazana by an incredible lady. And we've just done a panel discussion on manufacturing. A township entrepreneur. Thank you so much.